Welcome to this tutorial on how to contribute to our online map project. You firstly need to send us an email that you have used to register a Google account. This is commonly a Gmail address. You need to use the form on our website to share with us your address. To find our website, simply search for WIALHS and then click on the first result here. And then if you go to project proposals in the top right and then go down to online map, and here is the project page that will give you all the information about what we are trying to achieve. The objectives, we have an example map here that will show what the finished project could look like. We have a notarized list of how to contribute, and then this is the form that you need to send in order to join the project. You need your full name, your email address, whether you're a member of our society, and also consenting to our privacy policy, and then just a quick check to make sure that you are not a robot. So once you have completed this form, we will then receive your email. We will then share with you access to our online spreadsheet that is used to create this map, and we will email you confirmation that you now have access to this sheet. So once you've received that confirmation email, you next need to log into your Google account. So we can go back to google.co.uk and then we click sign in the top right hand corner. And if you haven't already logged in, you need to use another account. But in this instance, we're going to select the one that we already have. Now that we've signed in, we need to go to Google Drive. So if you type in Google Drive into the search bar and you click on the first result here, in this instance, we can see the sheet straight away. It's called WILHS map list, and that's in the suggested box. If you cannot see the sheet here when you log in, you need to click on shared with me. And here you go. You can then see the actual sheets down below here. So let's double click on that to open that up. Now this is the sheet that we are going to use to generate the map as demonstrated on our website as shown earlier. We have all these columns here. Let's go through what they are. So the location title is fairly self-explanatory. What is the name of this location that we're going to be including in the map? We then need to categorize it, either industrial or non-industrial. As an industrial archaeology society, we are primarily concerned with including every single industrial heritage site in this map. So anything related to industrial heritage, no matter how big or small, so long as it's publicly accessible, we want to include all of those sites in our map. But we are also, as well, a local history society, and so we can also include other areas of interest. So, for example, here we've got the graves of Lee and Perrins, and we've also got Worcester Cathedral as well. So a word of caution about non-industrial sites. We need to be careful on what we include in this map. So to help understand this area of concern, one could easily mark up all the historical churches in the county in this map, and there's a lot of them. And that would not necessarily be a good idea for this map, being as we are focusing on industrial archaeology. So in this instance, we would actually want to include ecclesiastical sites of significant importance in the county, of which Worcester Cathedral is one example. Another would be Malvern Priory and Pershore Abbey. So we just need to be careful not to oversaturate this map with small sites of local historical interest. But when it comes to industrial, we can put in everything. And then we need to put in the location or the nearest settlement to the site. The map coordinates, I'll demonstrate how to do this later on. If we've got a link to an official website for this location, so down here, obviously Worcester Cathedral has a website, so does the Museum of Royal Worcester, and other smaller sites such as Knowles Mill, which is owned by the National Trust, and obviously the Tardebigge lime kilns as well. And then we finally need to mark up what category the marker belongs to. And this is already available via this list here. If a category does not appear in this list and you think it would be suitable for a site that you are including, then please get in touch with us and give us your suggestion, and we will discuss it, and if we approve of it, we will include it in this list here. Okay, so how do multiple people work on this sheet at the same time? So this sheet saves automatically. So let's say I add in a location. Once I click out of this cell, you can see it's saving, and then it's a save to drive. So you do not have to click File and Save. In fact, when you click on the file, the save option doesn't exist. And that is because this sheet updates, it saves automatically. So that's how we can have multiple people inputting values into these cells simultaneously without compromising the quality of the sheet. So if you see a location title, for example, the Albion Flour Mill, and the rest of these columns here are empty, that means that somebody has come up with the idea of including this site in the map, but they haven't got the knowledge or the time to fill out the rest of these columns. So this is where you can actually help complete the information from a site that somebody else has recommended. If, for example, you have got a site in mind, but you don't want to fill out the rest of the information, you can just type it in the location title. So in this instance, we'll type in Malvern Priory. And then you can just leave that there and somebody will pick that up, or you can complete it if you so wish. So that is how we're going to have multiple collaborators working simultaneously on this sheet. Okay, so we are now going to fill out these 4 location titles. We're going to complete the information in all of these empty columns, and this is going to form now the basis of the tutorial to fill this sheet out. So we'll start off with the Albion Flour Mill. So it's definitely an industrial site. Its location is in Worcester. Now, its map coordinates, how do we find that? So firstly, we need to open up a new tab and we need to type in Google Maps, and you can click on the first option here. Okay, so we have now a map of Worcester. We need to find the Albion Flour Mill. We could start by searching in the bar up here, and it goes straight away to a location in London, so that's not going to help us out. So we can clear that search and then we can click back. Oh, in this instance we can't click back, so we have to zoom out of London and we have to go back to Worcester. Okay, so that didn't actually help us. The Albion Mill, Portland Street, there we go. So this auto suggestion has actually then pointed out the mill, and this is where we want to find it. Now, this layer is your default map layer. It might be difficult to actually ascertain the boundaries of the mill. In this instance, we'd want to switch to the satellite layer, and we do this by coming to the bottom left-hand corner here to this tile, and then we click on satellite, and there we go. We've now got a satellite view of Worcester hovering over the Albion Mill. You may find it easier to find sites of interest using the 3D globe view, and I'll demonstrate how to do this now. You have to actually switch it on. If you don't have a 3D option, if you can't see a 3D map, then you definitely know that it hasn't been switched on. So in order to switch it on, you hover your mouse cursor over the bottom left-hand tile again, and then we go over to More here on the right, and then we can see at the bottom here we've got this tick box for globe view. So let's tick that, And there we go. The map has changed. We can close this little box now. And in order to see the 3D view of the city, I think you have to hold down Shift on Windows. I'm using a Mac. I have to hold down the Command key. And then if I actually then use my mouse to drag and click, we can see now, there we go. We've got a 3D view of Worcester. We can rotate the view in all directions. You've just got to hold the left mouse button and then move it whilst holding the Command key on Mac, and I think it's Shift on Windows. If not, please do let me know. So here we go. This is, although the mill, Google Maps pointed out the mill to be here, in fact, this is modern housing. The mill is this building here. We can see it there. So, another limitation of the globe view is that it doesn't cover the entire country. And you can see this by the differences in colour. We've got this polygon around Worcester where it's a bit lighter here and it's a bit darker outside of that polygon, and that actually details the boundary of the globe view. So, for example, if we go to Spetchley and we try to access the globe view, we can see that all it does is create a landscape view using a 2D satellite map. But if we then go over the border here, and then we can see now, there you go, the 3D map has presented itself. So it's not available in all locations, but in major towns and cities, you may find that the globe view is available, and it might help you further to understand the site and the location of said site. So going back into Albion Mill, we found our destination. We now need to get the map coordinates. And we do this firstly by going back into a 2D bird's eye view. So underneath the compass on the right here, we can see this little box that says 2D. Okay, so that's tilted the view now to a bird's eye perspective over the building. And then we want to position our mouse in the very center or near center of the structure, right click, and then we want to left click on the coordinates here, and it says that's been copied to clipboard. Now we go back into our map sheet. Now we have to use the paste shortcut keys to do this. So for Windows, it's Control and then the letter V. I'm using a Mac, so it's Command and V. And there we go. Pardon me. We've got the coordinates in there. Now, regarding a link, so if we type in Albion Flour Mill, or we can see again that we've got this this duplicate in London. It's also called Albion Mills. So we might want to narrow our search down by putting in Worcester, and there really isn't an official site here. So in this instance, what we would do is we would leave the link empty, which is fine. And then we go over to the marker category and we can then select the mill. And there we go. We've completed the Albion Flour Mill. So let's do the same again for Beverley Bridge. It's an industrial structure. It's located in Beverley. And we're going to now find its coordinates. Let's first start by typing in its name, and there we go, Beverley Bridge. We've got it. So we can clear this search. We can then go in. We don't really need a 3D globe view on this. We hover our mouse over the center of the bridge. We right click, then we left click on the coordinates. We go back into the sheet. We use the paste shortcut key. In this instance, it's Command and V because I'm on a Mac, but you can use Control and V on Windows. And then link-wise, I don't think we're going to have an official site for this because it's such an insignificant structure. But we could possibly use the Historic England entry because it is a listed building. So we will copy that over to here. Again, we're using the paste shortcut key. And then we select bridge as a marker category. Now, what about structures that aren't pretty much centered around one location? So the Elam Valley Aqueduct, for example, this is an aqueduct that covers over 70 miles. Um, Part of it is in Powys, part of it is in Shropshire and Herefordshire, and obviously a part of it runs through Worcestershire. So in this instance, we want to think, well, most of the aqueduct is underground. There are certain landmarks that are visible. What would be the most famous of these landmarks in Worcestershire that is visible that people could go and see? And in this instance, we would want to go over to the River Severn above Trimpley. So here's Trimpley Reservoir. Naturally, you won't find this in the search. This is obviously local knowledge, you know, if you've actually been to the Elam Valley Aqueduct. And there we go. We haven't got a 3D view, unfortunately, because it's outside of the boundaries. But we can see clearly that this visible section of the aqueduct over the River Severn is very impressive and is probably worth a look for visitors who are planning to learn a bit more about, you know, historical water supplies. So in this instance, even though we can see the aqueduct through this clearing of trees here, although it does cover some distance, we're only interested in utilising this location as placing the marker in this particular spot of the aqueduct. So again, we're going to hover our mouse over it, right click, then left click, and then we're going to copy that into the coordinates. It's industrial. In this instance, the location, we will probably class that probably as Trimpley. That's the nearest settlement to the aqueduct, and we've also got the nearby Trimpley Reservoir. It's also named after Trimpley, so that is what we'll put in. And then regarding a link, we need to search for it. And again, we don't really have an official link. This is just news articles here. We don't really want to use Wikipedia either, because it's not considered an official source of information. So in this instance, we can also leave then the link part empty. And then the market category, well, this is a utility, and that's what we'll put. The same can be said for Tardy Big Locks. So Tardy Big Locks covers a couple of miles or more. And it's over here that it starts. So yeah, we can see the locks pretty much. If we go to the default map layer, we can see here from the Queen's Head from Stoke Pound, we can see now the flight of locks snaking its way through the countryside. So again, the question is, where do we put the map marker here? Do we put it in the centre? It's quite difficult to ascertain where the centre is for something that snakes around like this. So the best probable option would be to put the marker at the top lock, the very top of the locks, and we can see that top lock is here, lock number 58. Let's go back to the satellite view, and there we go. If we then just hover our mouse over the top lock, we right click, then left click the coordinates, and then we copy that in, and again it's industrial. We'll put it as Tardy Big. I'm sure Tardy Big Locks does have an official site by the Canal and River Trust. Here we go. This is not necessarily about the locks, it's about a walk, but it does cover information about the area, such as the lock map and other info as well. So we would include this as an official source or official site. So we can also copy this website in here. And then the category is waterway. And there we go. So do bear in mind the issues related to sites that cover large distances. Either look for a visible landmark if the site is mainly buried, such as the Elam Valley Aqueduct. In the case of a flight of locks, canal locks, or a tramway, or maybe an old railway, you would probably want to position the marker at the start or the start of the railway or tramway, or the top of a flight of locks for a canal or a river. That way we can try and have some uniformity to how these categories, these markers are actually placed in the map. One last thing that I would like to cover: if you have made an error, so for example, you've got you've made like a spelling error or something like that, you can just correct that straight away. Or if you've made an error to the map, for example, say that you accidentally delete a column like that, which is a major change, you can go to edit and then undo, and there we go. That will then restore the action that you have taken. If that doesn't work out for you, then please do get in contact with me via the form on our website. You can just always go back to our website and you can just contact us here. Do let us know and I will come to your assistance and we can restore the sheet, because it does actually save a copy every time a change is made. So we do have an archive of all the changes and we can roll back the sheet. But this needs to be done by me because we need to make sure that when we do roll back, any sites or information that's been input will not be lost during that rollback. Thank you very much.